What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo, presented as always by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. Pure Options is sponsoring the Michigan Funk Fest. That's Saturday, October 12th from 1 to 8 p.m. at the Pure Options Frandor location. Tony Thompson and friends, other musical acts, DJ McCoy, Metro Malik, and the usual vibe from Pure Options. You can go to misharts.org/funkfest or Pure Options to buy tickets for $15, 1 to 8 p.m. Saturday, October 12th, Michigan Funk Fest. Pure Options, always a great community partner. And our Friday afternoon show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet an unbelievable slate of games this weekend, both football and soccer. We'll get into that momentarily. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Graham.
What's up, buddy? You sweet, beautiful bastard. God, Tiger's going to clinch today, right?
It's incredible.
What a beautiful fucking day this is, man.
Last night,
unbelievable.
Thursday night, the Thursday during the day, watching the Tigers, I was clapping like a child at the TV. I was so happy when I haven't felt that way. It's just fun. Like
what?
I don't know. No money
clapping
on the game.
Like
nothing.
a child. How do you clap like a child?
It was like it was just like this overwhelming exuberance. Like I was like,
it's like Tony Dombrowski. You know,
I was on a column deadline. I was probably had a lot of emotions just trying to put that off. But
Iffy, Ifantu Malafanwu, we freaking love you, man.
Isn't it great though?
It's unbelievable.
I've clapped at Lions games. Like I know what you mean. It just made me laugh.
And then I gave a fist pump at night following the Miami Marlins win over the Twins.
A healthy fist pump.
Clapping. It's unbelievable.
We're back.
Yeah.
It's great to be back and not dead inside anymore.
So much fun.
Oh, life is so much fun, man.
Think about this. I mean,
Jesus.
I know the Lions haven't exactly been humming out of the gate here.
It's fine.
But like the Lions are a real team, right?
They are real.
The Tigers are having one of the more improbable runs ever. Like, yes, it's
dude, I'm so clapping like that tonight. Oh man, if the bets are hitting too, oh shit, I'm dancing tonight.
It's fun.
Oh God, let's end the show now.
It's fun.
Let's get out of here.
Like my wife, we're planning to have a little date night tonight, and so I was, we'll see what happens here. She's coming home from work in Chicago, and I was gonna like find us a little movie or something. But I had to make sure it was short enough that I catch the final few innings of the Tigers game.
Smart,
Like nothing. We don't need any Titanic length movies here.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You can't have a TV over to the side with the game on and just like watch. You can focus on the movie, right? I mean,
she would be 100% cool with it. I'm just not trying to create that vibe for her.
So that means she's not cool with it.
No, she is cool with it. She's cool with it.
But why wouldn't she want that vibe?
I
mean, dude, the Tigers are going to make the playoffs possibly here.
No doubt.
This is important.
The last time the Tigers in the play, her late father had not Manfred. Who was the guy before? Seelig.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Seelig. Maybe it was Manfred. One of the two commissioners. He knew. He was like friendly with. And we used to get postseason, like 2013. Postseason tickets, great seats.
And you don't know which one it was, which commissioner?
I'll have to ask.
You were given free tickets. You had like a almost personal relationship with this. I mean, there's only been
Seelig.
5 commissioners.
Seelig. Well, give me some.
Was it A. Bartlett Giamatti?
It was not. Hold on.
Off.
I am the passenger.
All right, so
free Ubers.
Yeah, it would have been Seelig. He was there till 2015. So Seelig.
Oh.
Yeah. Or somebody in his office, which could have been Manfred. I don't know. But I would think it was Seelig.
Was it the secretary or, I mean, who knows?
No,
anyway.
He was connected to somebody. Yeah,
what does this have to do with you watching the game while the
I'm
movie
just saying she's gone to games with her dad, playoff game. Like she
So
she
you
has
think that she would know.
She has an appreciation for it, is what I'm saying. Yes.
So you have to shorten the movie. Okay.
Oh, it's short.
That's your life, man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what you do.
Just asking.
Yep. That's
not what I do, but it's fine. There'd be no way. Thank you, Treese, for being the greatest way. By the way, did you get your shirts over there? Teacups.org. Teacups.org.
Incredible.
Had a couple orders since the last show, so hey, if you want some Couch in the Roof stuff,
and
let
that's
us know.
TEE Cups, traditional spelling.
Traditional,
CUPS.
yes.
Traditional spelling.
CUPS, yes. .org.
Yeah, for sure.
Organization.
Well, we've got what I think is going to be a really fun show of Groovy Donut Twitter and YouTube questions, some fantastic stuff, as always. Before we get into those, what we are betting this weekend, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Are you going to be gambling this football weekend?
1,000%. Here's what I like so far. Army had Army last night against, who'd they play? Holy Cross or something.
Temple.
Temple, excuse me. Hammered them. Love that. Miami tonight, alternate line -14, and Rutgers money line +325. One leg down, I know, so it's not really a great one. Sorry, I actually forgot about this because I love that Army game, and I forgot it was on last night. I forget Thursday night college football sometimes.
I've gotten to the point where just because I want to have a little action on the Thursday night NFL game, I wind up doing some ridiculous 13-point teaser because I don't trust either team, and I just want to be safely able to have some action that starts the weekend. It's just
I like forgetting that there's a game on, so I don't have to.
Well, you do because it's on Amazon. If you're flipping, it's not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like sports that are on. It's not.
It's just it's all I need. Especially with the Tigers and they're actually competing now. After that game earlier on in the day, I'm like, okay, I got the NFL game. Didn't even think about college football. But,
yeah. No, that was that Tigers. That was one. I got to say that was one of the more fun because it looked like a day where they weren't going to win, and you didn't think they were going to win out. It looked like a day where to watch. I don't know. It was one of the more fun games I've ever seen, and the more grittier performances.
But is that the funnest game out of all of this whole run?
No,
I mean, there's been better. It's just unbelievable.
But as you get this close to them actually tasting the playoffs, that yesterday was the first day you went, oh, they're going to do this, and
with the White Sox coming in,
and the best thing is if they get it done before Sunday, then they save Skubal for the playoffs. Now you got at least, and obviously you're at Houston or Baltimore, and that those are tough challenges, but I still think the way they're playing, they got a chance in a 2 of 3 series, and especially if one of them's with him on the mound. You know what I mean? It's not unfathomable given the way they're playing. It's so
just
much
annoys me that Chris Ilitch is enjoying this though too.
Well, now
and Javi Baez somewhere.
Now his ass better spend and do so obviously in smart ways. But yeah,
let's get stupid. There's no cap.
All right, I am going to lose money on soccer this weekend. I just might as well write.
How many parlays do you guys have?
Write a check to the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, or just walk on down to Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook. I'm going to go outside of a couple straight ups I like a lot. I like Chelsea at home -40. I like the way Chelsea's playing -40 at home against Brighton. I think that's a good line. I don't think the market is completely caught up to how well Chelsea's playing. And Aston Villa -110. I know they're on the road at Ipswich Town, who least talented team, I think, may not be the worst team. That may be Southampton. Aston Villa is a really good team. I know they got Bayern Munich in a Champions League game during the week, so there's all that, but I just think they're a better team. I'm going to play those straight up. I'm probably going to parlay them. I'll probably do a parlay that includes some more heavy favorites, including Arsenal, and I like Liverpool at Wolverhampton is part of that as well. And, Man City, Newcastle, I'm getting a little skittish at. It's 7:30 a.m. game. I'm not as big on that as I was. But that's where I'm at on the Premier League action on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Are you ready to dig into these Groovy Donut Twitter questions?
Let's do it, man. Eric Schultz up first. Let's say Childs continues to struggle with turning the ball over. When does it go from he's young and inexperienced to this is a bona fide issue? I'm still very high on the kid, but he can't continue to give the ball to the opponents at the current rate.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. One, it has to – so when they get to November and they're playing what I would consider like competition in some ways, like even if Illinois is pretty good and better than we thought, even if Indiana is better than we thought, those are not teams that the depth and quality of talent in their program is above MSU's to the point that he could get overwhelmed and have an awful day. Like Ohio State thinks it could go bad, and that has nothing to do with Aiden Childs. Oregon, same thing could happen. Even Michigan's defense, which hasn't been as impressive as maybe we thought they would be, that could happen. Iowa, who knows? We'll see. But at some point late in this year, it shouldn't be a tendency with him. And I think you should start. He might still make the occasional throw that, that may be part of his DNA for a long time. But so you should start to see it this year. And then next year, it's like, he should be a second-year starting quarterback, and a lot of those things. It's not that you don't occasionally make a bad throw or a bad decision as you're trying to make a play, but it shouldn't be such an issue, I would say.
Eric, with this one, last season, Jay Johnson was the third highest paid Big Ten coordinator while coaching the worst MSU scoring offense in 50 years. This year at Wyoming, he's 0-4, third worst nationally in scoring, and fifth worst in yards per game. Is he the biggest grifter in the history of sports?
Could have Cody Tucker on to find out how he feels about Jay Johnson.
By the way, I like Wyoming this weekend, though.
Do you?
Getting 4 points against Air Force at home. I like that game.
It's going
to be ugly and boring, but
tough place to win. Tough place to recruit in the NIL era and the transfer portal era. I don't know
Beautiful there.
I don't know how much is his fault. Yeah, right. No, kids are stupid. Wyoming's a great spot. Like the Pac-12, I know they don't have a big media market, but this new Pac-12 should be recruiting Wyoming because they actually have a sizable fan base that is passionate.
But the weather, it just gets too wonky too quick there, though. Especially during football season. You have War Memorial Stadium that's outdoors, and you have to travel. Sometimes it's just on a whim, and there's tons of snow.
You know what you don't have there? Every September, a hurricane that ruins half the games in the Southeast. Like, I don't. Of the many things I would recruit against the SEC and other conferences with, I would use that. You know how coaches always say, well, we only got 12 of these games a year, so everyone's important. And the SEC and the Sun Belt and the ACC, you got 11 games a year. And you got one that's either moved or screwed up or in a deluge by a hurricane. I don't understand the appeal of that area of the country.
I don't either.
It's back sweat most of the year. And then you got hurricanes.
It's not legal yet.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. But in Wyoming doesn't have that issue. So I don't know how much is Jay Johnson. I just haven't been paying close enough attention.
Dominic Graham, why would you ever share hashtag Stairgate with us? Also, thank you so very much for sharing hashtag Stairgate with us.
So I think Dominic is referring to the gentleman who died.
Graham killed.
Fell down. He did not do that. Who fell down.
The short story is Graham killed a gay guy years ago.
Nope.
And he's been getting away with it for decades.
That's not what happened.
Dominic and I love talking about it.
This is a man who at one point was somebody I hung out with. At one point he came on me a little bit. He hit on me, yep. Yeah. As anybody would looking at me.
And Graham was offended like a lot of people are.
And I was not offended.
It happens.
I was not
offended. Me personally,
nope.
Graham,
was not offended.
He wasn't open-minded at the time.
Wasn't yet wearing a muskox flannel, so I don't know what he saw in me. But anyway,
I just can't wait for Graham to finally, after his show, go, hey, man, can we kill this gay guy, me killing a gay guy? Like
a couple years later, he tragically fell down some stairs. It was a beloved person in the
Graham
Kalamazoo
said 2
community.
Weeks.
It was not 2 weeks.
When he told the original story.
Yes, it was wrong. It was wrong. It was a couple years. Yes.
It's the greatest story of all time. Dan Grafe, what's the longest losing streak MSU has had against Ohio State?
Oh, shit. I meant to look this up. Yep, sorry.
I ride through the city's backside. I see the stars come out of the sky.
Graham.
Peacock.
Cockburn.
I am a passenger. I stay under.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, okay.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know. So this is like people tuning in like, what's going on here? How long are they going to play this? I knew exactly where to find. As soon as I saw Dan's question, I was like, I need to have this pulled up, and then somehow I didn't. Okay, so this is just about it right now. So they are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games straight. Now the first 3 of those first 4 of them really had competitive. They lost 17-16. So 3 of the first 4 were competitive to some degree. But since then, the last 4 have not been at all. And it appears, just looking at history, they had one other 8-game losing streak from 75 to 84. And so, yeah, this is up there. Not great. It's something they need to at some point correct. Now, the interesting thing about Ohio State, and I probably should have mentioned this in the column today, is while Ohio State is still, even with Michigan, owning the Big Ten for the last 3 years, I think Ohio State is still considered sort of the national standard as a program in the Big Ten. But you won't face them every year. Like Michigan State doesn't play them next year. In an 18-team Big Ten, there could be a year that you win the Big Ten that Ohio State does not even touch your schedule. They don't get to the Big Ten championship game. Who knows how long championship games will exist? Like, it's not going to be the same as when it was in the division, where you truly had to get through them every year. But I still think it is an important measuring stick, not just to beat them, but to look like you belong on the field. Because at the beginning of this losing streak, even when they lose in 2016, 17-16. In 2018, it's 26-6, but it's 7-6 at the end of the third quarter, and Michigan State doesn't have a quarterback. Lewerke had that bad arm. They couldn't do anything. The defense was that good. And late into the second quarter, it was competitive in 2019. So fallen apart since. It'll be interesting to see this week if they look like they belong on the field or not.
Jebediah next. Heard Rico agree with my take that MSU would have won at Boston College if Nick Marsh played due to their established chemistry. Is he a P1 listener of this show? He said Jebediah. I heard this Jebediah guy.
Yeah.
On Graham's podcast. That's what he calls it.
Yeah.
I mean, congrats. Yeah.
I don't think Rico would admit it, but I think it's probably where he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Never admit that. No. Spartan 18770. If MSU keeps playing in the same uniforms week in and week out, why have a weekly uniform reveal? Seems kind of redundant.
And I love it because they're wearing the classics. None of this teal bullshit or bronze helmets or Christmas bulbs. The Christmas bulbs I actually don't hate, but most of them I hate. And, they got classics. If you have like Oregon was out front on the uniform changes. Part of the reason they were out front is they had this green, it was kind of like avocado piss combination. And this green-yellow thing going, and it was like, those are your colors? Yeah, you should do something cool. If you already have classics, don't mess with them.
Next one from Spartan. Why is Izzo going after these 5 stars? He never gets them. I would take 5 Andre Hudsons any day of the week.
Well, he does get some of them. I mean,
coach my team.
Certainly Miles Bridges was one. Jaren Jackson was one. He has landed some of these guys. And Delvon Rowe going way back. I mean, there are a number of guys who are 5 stars, and obviously Xavier Booker was a 5-star. So the evidence just isn't correct. And these guys do help you win. Now, an Andre Hudson, who a lot of people miss on, and they even didn't realize was as good as he was until he showed up. Those guys help a ton. But you get, 5 stars make a difference. And, he's won his fair share of them and continues to be in the hunt for them. And you got to keep recruiting them. You do. And you got to have a better what you can't have is what happened in the Tum Tum Nairn, Alvin Ellis era when sort of they wound up with Plan C guys. You can miss out on your top guys, but you gotta be able to move into that 4-star level. The flip side now, though, is that with the transfer portal, if you have to use it, and Izzo may be in a point where he does have to use it much more, Michigan State ought to be able to recruit lots of kids who are just sophomores or juniors or young guys who want to be in the portal who would like to play at Michigan State.
Gotham volleyball dad. If MSU covers and the defense looks good, who do you think lasts longer at MSU? Joe Rossi or Aiden Childs?
I think Joe Rossi is at least a 2-year guy at Michigan State. Like before he would start, because the thing is, before Joe Rossi is going to get a head coaching job, they would have to. They're going to have to do something that really, really, because it's not that Joe Rossi wouldn't be a good head coach now. It's that an AD and a president have to sell that to fans and administrators. Like Joe Rossi is not a hire that turns heads right now. If Michigan State's defense becomes a thing over several years, like think how long it took Narduzzi to become a real candidate. It takes a minute in that job. So I think, he's probably here longer, more likely than Aiden Childs, just because Aiden Childs' eligibility will run out.
Alex Meyer. What happens first moving forward? MSU beats Ohio State in football or Michigan wins a conference championship? Well, good question.
It is, and I would say it's
U of M. Either way.
I would if I had to bet it, I would bet U of M to win a conference championship because they just won 3. And I know they're a little bit down right now, but
Portnoy's going to buy a quarterback.
Who knows what's
next
gonna
year?
yeah, there's still a lot of good ingredients there. And Michigan State's only going to play Ohio State every other year, and it's a tough team to beat. So I would say if you had to bet it, you would take U of M for sure here.
Next one from Alex. Who takes the last shot in a close MSU basketball game this season?
I think at the beginning it'll be Jaden Akins. Now Jaden Akins is not. I mean, he took the last shot on the ship against Gonzaga a couple years ago. It's not like this is the first time he's been put in those situations. But in terms of ball in hand, I think early on it'll be him, and they'll sort of move through it, and maybe he'll be really good at it. And the thing for me with Jaden Akins is him being willing to not just being able to make tough shots or create good shots for himself late, but also be able to create and dish to others, which I think is part of his game that he has that he needs to lean into more. So we'll see. But I think you could go a lot of different ways down the ball could just be in Jeremy Fear's hands at the end. This could be something where Frankie Fiddler with his size winds up getting the ball and taking a lot of last shots. It could be, it could be a situation where some Xavier Booker winds up being somebody they go to somehow, and you don't see a lot of big guys getting the ball there. But so I really don't know, but I think it starts with Jaden Akins.
Last one from Alex Mayer. Guilty pleasure TV show you're watching right now.
Do you have a guilty pleasure TV show?
But a guilty pleasure means like you're embarrassed to tell people.
Right.
Like I watch American Pickers, but I wouldn't be scared to tell somebody that I love that show. I don't have anything that I would like want to hide from anyone. I would just tell you. I don't. Yeah. If I really like Girls 5F, I've never, I would definitely hide that one, but I would tell you others.
Yeah. When you think of my shows, I'm pretty open. I'm kind of an open book here, and maybe I should be humiliated by some of my choices, but
I mean, if you enjoy it, it's just that you try to get people to like watch it with you, and you tell people how much that they're missing out. That's the annoying part. I could care less what terrible TV you watch in your free.
So I'm trying to use the standard here of something you'd be embarrassed to watch. Like I love Chicago PD, and I'm excited it's back. I love The Diplomat.
You'd have to get to porn.
Yeah, I love
it when it gets embarrassing.
Yeah, I love Only Murders in the Building, which is back, which is a great show. So I would say the thing
Equalizer with Queen Latifah.
Most embarrassed show that I've ever watched a full season of. I wouldn't say it was like my primary focus. I used to do it while working, but I would have it on the background because it had some hints of Hallmark in it. And because I am actually humiliated to say this. This is why I'm taking so long to say it. I don't even want to go there.
You killed a gay guy. What could be worse than that?
See, I didn't do that. That's not great. I did watch a season like as a background while working late at night of Virgin River on Netflix.
What's Virgin River?
It's basically a well-produced Hallmark soap opera type thing on Netflix. Yeah, it's
oh boy.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend. I mean, it's not bad. It's just
who are these people?
I'm not putting my stamp of Girls 5F approval on it. Is what I'm saying. But
I mean, it gets good reviews. What do you? I mean, out of all the things that you've admitted to, this is what embarrasses you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, like out of everything that you've. Wow. All right, Suburban Spartan Dad. What is the best possible outcome for the Ohio State game, both in terms of final score and things we learn about the team?
I mean, obviously, a win is the best possible outcome. I don't see a path to it because if you look at the upsets Michigan State has had against Ohio State, or times where they were great, but go to like the 98, the upset. Michigan State had so many NFL guys on that team. They were just a year away. And so it would, to me, the defense, the best possible outcome is the defense is just, that's looked pretty good, is even better than we imagined. And there are a number of these guys who are, like if you look at the defenses of 2018-19, there were a number of NFL guys on those teams. Not first-round pick type NFL guys or, long-term NFL all-pros like some of the best MSU teams have had or the 98 team had or any of that stuff. But like a lot of guys who at least had a cup of coffee in the NFL, played a couple seasons in the NFL, and they had 5 or 6 of those, 6 or 7 even. And so maybe this defense is at that. And if this defense is that, and we just don't quite realize it, and this is the sort of game where that's proven, this winds up being close late. Ohio State's quarterback situation with Will Howard, they're in a pressure situation they haven't been in this year. Aiden Childs connects a little bit. I'm just trying to paint a picture of how you get to an upset. I don't see it happening because I think it's going to get ugly up front for MSU on the offensive end against Ohio State's defensive line. I think that's going to be the big problem. I think Michigan State's offense is really going to struggle in this game. But the defense, there's a chance they hang in there. Final score, best case scenario is like, I would say most likely like 30 to 17 in that range. I think is probably your best case scenario. Yeah.
I can't do math. Does that mean they cover?
They cover.
All right. Yeah. Jeff Peterson, Go Green, and Couch on Fire with the same take. What is up with these high-level 5-star kids committing elsewhere? Is MSU's basketball team not good enough? Should there be concern?
So each kid, and they've had a few of them lately, and so I get the concern. Like, they've had a couple kids in the last couple days choose elsewhere, right? And kids they've been after for quite a while. The Jalen Harrelson, who picked Notre Dame, and then the McKinney kid, who they were, Michigan State's not part of his final three, and each kid is their own thing. Now Michigan State was down to the wire with one of them. Like, they're in the hunt. It's hard to get these guys. I don't know that there should be any concern because they've recruited well of late. If this was a pattern where the class 2 years ago didn't happen, and this year's class I think is pretty decent as well, you'd be concerned. Now, they don't have anybody really in the fold, and I think that's where there's concern. But in the transfer portal era, it doesn't matter as much. What could be interesting, though, is if Michigan State does miss out on most of their top choices, and Izzo has said that if he needs to, he will use the portal heavily. This will be a really interesting offseason because this could be the sort of year where you wind up with 4 kids out of the portal. You're looking at, you're really actively recruiting, trying to get guys who have years left and a lot to give, and you're almost using it instead of the high school recruiting. And I think for Michigan State, that has one of the frustrating things I think for a lot of people at Izzo is Michigan State is a place that a lot of kids who go somewhere else and have some success and then want to play up would want to be at Michigan State. Or kids who are at a high major doing really well, but it's not a big brand, would want to play at Michigan State. Michigan State has cachet, it has brand, it has Izzo. They have the ability to lean into that and have only done so to a small degree. And it'll be interesting to see if they do have a year where they miss out on a number of kids, whether that changes.
Austin Wolf, Harrelson chose Notre Dame because why?
I don't know. I mean, he obviously had relationships with the coaches there. I know he was somebody that people respected the way he handled the recruiting situation. So he seemed like a pretty mature kid. The coaches didn't know exactly which way it was going to go. They put a lot of time in. He did not go where the most money was, which would have been Indiana. Micah Shrewsbury is going to be a factor. I like him a lot. I think he was a great coach. I think Penn State's a hard place to win. He won a little bit there and then got out to Notre Dame. So they're going to be more of a factor now. Shrewsbury is a really good coach, and the relationship there was clearly pretty strong. So, but you never know. These are 1-year deals with all these kids. Maybe they get them 2 years from now. That wouldn't be my guess, but you never know. That's the thing that also to remember when you're recruiting these guys now, you're not recruiting them just for now. You keep the relationship because most guys are going to transfer. Not most, but a lot. Maybe half. We'll have to look at what the numbers start to be in a year or two. And so you want to also have a chance at the same kid 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 1 year from now. The other thing, though, to think about in the transfer portal, and this is where it gets a little harder, is it is easy if you're recruiting high school kids to imagine your classes, right? You know, a year from now, if you've got kids coming in, well, Jace Richardson will be a sophomore. This, Kurt Tang will be a sophomore. What this kid will be. So now if you're recruiting transfers, you are adding kids either above them or into the same class and not freshmen. And that's where there is, you do have to think things through and make sure you're not over-recruiting kids you don't want to over-recruit, or it's harder to, build a program that sort of, builds itself year after year after year from within. But, I don't know where I was going from there, but we'll move on.
MZA, what other 5 stars is Izzo still in play for?
I don't think of the kids who are that they're really in on. I don't think there are any 5 stars. I think he's got 3 or 4 stars that they're sort of in on. I do not think. Let me double check. Give me some Hoff real quick.
He's exhausted.
Tonight, I see the bright and hollow sky over the city's ripped back sky, and everything looks good tonight.
Highway to the danger zone, right into the danger zone. Heading into twilight, spreading out her wings tonight. She got you jumping off the deck and shoving into overdrive.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so the top-rated kid they're the top-rated kid they're still in on is this Aristode kid who's 6'8" wing, who's a 4-star. He's like top 30 kid. So most of the kids now are top 30. Real good recruits, top 30, top 50, in that range, 4-star kids. I do not think of their top guys. They've got many 5 stars that they're really in on, but there could be somebody I'm unaware of.
MZA and Izzo's recent comments about the program just getting back to championship caliber sounds like the same recycled jargon we've heard the last couple of years. Is there any reason to believe that this season will be different?
It's a fair point that he has started to say it. I think he said it increasingly. But, this team, I think, has a lot of intrigue to it. You can look at this team and think this team has a chance to be a fun team and a really good team with a high ceiling. So there's that. But otherwise, you're right. It is a line he started to turn to. I do think, though, that there is more a realization with him that where they are wasn't quite there, starting with the end of the NCAA tournament in this last year. They had to get through the A.J. Hoggard era, and I think he thought he could get more out of it. You think about where they were at the end of the 2022 NCAA tournament, where they're playing in a Sweet 16. I think there was a lot of reasons to think that group, the way they finished that season, coming back together with the recruiting class coming in, would be a team that took them back into contention, and it just wasn't. The recruiting class wasn't as ready, and then obviously Jeremy Fears Jr. got shot and was out for half the season, and then the veterans sort of maxed out and were what they were, and Hoggard was what he was, and that sort of gave them a ceiling that I think was lower than he was hoping, and now he's got a new group that with new possibilities. So we'll see. I think it's fair to say, though, with Izzo, there is a little bit of show me at this point, and that's fair to expect.
Some dude, did Izzo say Jeremy Fears is now 95%? Didn't he say he was 99% in the summer? What's this 4% bullshit?
Never trust Izzo's medical diagnosis on anything.
No?
He will be.
Ever?
He doesn't know what his percent. Izzo still calls the Champions Classic the Tournament of Champions. The things are the white elephant in the room. If Izzo ever went to a white elephant party, he wouldn't even know what to do. He wouldn't even realize that it's a totally separate deal. I think what he's trying to say is that Fears is just about there, but there's and who knows if Fears ever truly gets to what he was athletically. I don't
100%. Oh,
I'll let Fears or somebody in a better medical position say that. I do respect Izzo for trying to be forthright with injuries and other situations where he doesn't keep you guessing. The problem
is a great bit though, but everybody knows you don't know what you're talking about.
His information,
give updates.
Yeah, his information sometimes wrong. That's the problem.
Great bit.
Yeah.
Some dude, did the on-field red hat guy for college football games always have the countdown clock to accompany him? I don't remember that. It seems to help me get through the worst part of the games. At least I know there's an end to when it's coming.
No, that's pretty new. That's within the last maybe a year. Maybe it's this year. I think it's last year,
but
too.
Do they go over the clock? I mean, what's the penalty if they go over?
There's no penalty
because it's zeros. You're screwed.
It's the official, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
So it's the guy who comes out on the field wearing the red outfit.
Okay.
And it's how long is left in the commercial break.
Oh.
So which is actually really helpful if you're in the stadium. It's like,
I know, but I'd rather not know, I think.
I don't like that at Michigan State he doesn't hold his own clock. It seems lazy. all you are is the red hat guy. You're already the most hated guy in America.
And you're going across the field to do it. They still do that, right?
No, he just comes out like 10
I thought
feet.
they used to have to go to the other one end of the field.
I don't think so. No. But anyway, you're already the most hated guy in the stadium, and then you can't even hold your own clock. At Illinois, I've been complaining about this, and the guy at Illinois keeps telling me their guy holds his own clock. I don't know why.
Just do it like Flava Flav. Have it around your neck like a big clock.
That would be interesting.
No, what? That means you can hold. All right. Some dude, did you know that like 80% of the Tigers' roster production was either drafted or acquired during the Al Avila era? Do you remember that A.J. Hinch was the manager of the Astros during the sign stealing scandal? I don't remember that. Has anyone seen a squirrely-looking shithead type dude in a CMU hat and spy glasses around the Tigers' dugout recently? Make it make sense.
There is a lot of Al Avila talent on the roster.
Well, you think the guy would hit something eventually.
He just didn't develop many people at a decent rate.
You know what? Fire Scott Harris and bring Al back then. Yeah. Sorry, Al, we apologize, right? I mean, what are we supposed to do?
It took too long. You can't.
Thanks for Javi Baez.
The problem is, if Al Avila knew what he was doing, this would have happened 4 years ago.
Exactly.
And it didn't. So some of your guys, when you're drafting that high, are going to pan out. And there have been some moves already by Scott Harris, and I just think, look, I think they've got to. Al Avila hired A.J. Hinch, and that
Scott Harris got a breathing person for Mark Canha.
Yeah, and
right then and there,
and Federer is a great pitching coach. Like Al Avila did not make everything he did was not wrong. He just wasn't great at.
He's not the worst general manager in Detroit
baseball
sports.
history.
No, just Detroit sports history, I guess.
Yeah, well, not even close
Matt
to the
Millen,
Lions stuff. Yeah.
No,
No, but you're right. He deserves a little bit of credit for this group. No, okay.
No, he's not here.
Okay.
Xavier Booker enthusiast. Which are more annoying, the non-Childs believers or doubters, or the Tom Izzo is washed crowd? Personally, the Tom Izzo is washed crowd has a collected IQ of 4. They must be smoking something other than pure options.
Yeah, if you're on the quality
crack.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's one of the great things about pure options. It's kind of like
it's not crack.
Well, it's definitely not that, but it's also it's a little bit of a higher brand. You know what I mean? We're talking. This isn't.
You know what I mean?
In beer terms, there's craft beer, there's good beer, there's beer you like, and then there's piss. A lot of places are piss. Pure options is not. That's a good way of putting it.
That should be their slogan.
We're not piss.
Yeah.
Other
places are piss. We're not piss.
Yeah, other races are piss. We're not. I'll pitch that to them.
Maybe say pee for the crowd.
Pureoptions.com for the location information nearest you. Remember, and if you can also join their Pure Perks loyalty program. Download their app. Really make your Pure Options experience tailored for you. Which are more annoying? I'm not annoyed by anybody yet, because I.
You sure?
Well, it's been longer with the Tom. The line Tom Izzo is washed itself, I hate, because it just lacks any sense of nuance, or it's like I hate when people talk about this coaching staff stinks. They stink. There's no elaboration. There's no analysis. I listen to podcasts all the time, and they're like, these guys stink. Well, no, they don't. They're actually
Johnny Spirit. Yeah. Sounds like his voice.
It does sound a little. It sounds a little like Coach K and Johnny Spirit all together. No. Yeah.
All right. Maybe is Aiden Childs, Adrian Martinez. Those Nebraska teams were pretty slippery.
Better arm, better passer, I think. But
boy, people were like really high on Martinez, though.
Yeah. No, I need one
Heisman,
but he was never built to be a pro quarterback. I think Childs has more of that in him, like just in terms of passer. And the way the ball looks coming out of his hand.
Isn't the Izzo, back to the Izzo thing, like being washed, more annoying? Because Childs, like I can understand where a fan could come from and go, oh, this throw that Childs had, maybe we could have beat Boston College. Like it's not as crazy as Tom Izzo's washed and right.
Yeah, and there's just so much evidence to the contrary. Is he a stubborn old man? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Does that fall under the category of game has passed you by though? If you're a stubborn old man.
Well, I mean, if you hadn't landed Xavier Booker, if you weren't recruiting decently,
right? If
you weren't still if your floor wasn't still the NCAA tournament second round, you know what I mean? Like it's still washed is such a. It's
a terrible. I don't like it even
term.
for anyone.
Yeah, it's a wash.
Part.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. All right, maybe. Are you a single issue voter? If so, what's the issue?
I am not usually a single issue voter unless it's like a bond that's a single issue. But I think people would be surprised by my politics. I think a little bit.
Yeah, do that on Spartan Speak.
Yeah, we'll do that on Spartan Speak. It's not what a lot of people think. Put it this way, I'll just say this: the political podcast I listen to most right now is Tim Miller, The Bulwark, and that should let you know where I am on things.
I have no idea.
Right,
Shep, why didn't you dicks include my hot takes in this week's show?
So
Graham said, "Don't read them."
I realized somehow that I didn't include anybody who sent me a DM on Monday. Somehow I've missed the DM once, and it is my apology. I got to get better at Mondays. Mondays are tricky. This is the first year we've done the show in the afternoon with the hot takes, that when there's also been a football coaches press conference on Mondays. Last time we used to do, when we did Monday afternoon shows way back when, I think D'Antonio and then Tucker were on Tuesdays. It's just like there's a lot going on in the morning to get those ready, and I just fucked it up. That's what it comes down to. I apologize.
Austin Wolf, does MSU's defense cover the spread against Ohio State? And who shines and who looks like they belong Saturday? Surprise performance.
So I think there's a chance they I don't like this game either way, betting it. I don't. I don't think I don't trust that this isn't going to be a disaster for MSU's offense, and that Ohio State won't put up enough to cover that. But I also don't trust Will Howard entirely. And I also think Michigan State's defense is legitimately okay. Like, pretty solid group that has some confidence that will stay in there in this thing. And so I would just stay away from it. I don't like it on a teaser. I don't like it on anything. I don't like it. I just don't. I would not bet this if you can avoid it. If you need to, then I'm not even going to give you a lean.
I can't avoid it.
What would your lean be on this? I mean,
I'd take the 24.
You take Ohio State.
No, I would take Michigan State with a 24 at home.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just trusting that defense. I'm with you. It's a fade for me, but yeah, if you need to sprinkle, I think I would sprinkle, because if you're a Michigan State fan, right, you're not going to pick Ohio State to cover that 24.
It ruins the day.
So you either take the 24 and hope Aiden Childs does something in the defense. And
here would be my advice if you want to bet this game: is live bet it. You probably will get a feel in a couple drives about how, and obviously a dam can break, so to speak, and Michigan State's defense can, after the offense does nothing for a while or something, then have some problems. But you'll get a feel, I think, in the first couple drives what the offense might be capable of, what it looks like with the defense, and you might get a read then and still get a decent line on a live line. That would be my advice to people.
Jordan Bunt next.
Sorry, I forgot to answer that. Who shines? Looks like they belong. Surprise performance. Give me surprise performance. Montori Foster breakout game, right? No, I don't know. I have no idea.
No. All right, Jordan Bunt, tell Spartan Nation what it will take for us to do the unthinkable tomorrow night and beat Ohio State. Could tomorrow night be that 1 in 100 meetings where we shock the world?
Sure, it could be, because these are college kids. And, I mean, I remember when in 2015 when Connor Cook was going to be out down in Columbus, I went on a pregame radio show and picked Michigan State to lose 50-2, featuring a Shalik Calhoun safety, right? I just thought they had zero chance. And the offensive line, which had been banged up for a while, and Cook had to carry them like at Rutgers and other places, really got healthy at the right time. They had a great game plan, and they pushed around Ohio State, which you just didn't see coming. They're not going to push around Ohio State offensively. But defensively, Michigan State, it's very possible that they wind up looking like they absolutely belong and going toe-to-toe. Again, probably you'd bet the other thing to happen a little bit, but Michigan State's defense has looked all right. And they got a lot of depth, and they're a confident group, and I think they'll be okay out there. So it would start there. The defense is just really keeping this a close game. And then, Nick Marsh, who's reportedly questionable, plays. They're healthy enough. The Jaron Glover thing I don't think matters a ton. Not that he's not a capable receiver, but I don't think it changes. I don't think he changes who they are as a receiving core. It does give them one more capable player. But then you're just going to have some guys make some plays on offense that we haven't seen yet, or do it do it with consistency we haven't seen.
Bottom line is, I could see that game going one way or the other.
Nestle's Quick Hotel. If MSU wins on Saturday, where is it on the list of upsets over Ohio State? I put it under 1998, but over 2015.
Over 2015. I mean, in terms of upset, 2015 was such a consequential win, right? It got them to the playoff. It led to a Big Ten championship. That Ohio State team.
Yeah, but if this Michigan State team at home beats this Ohio, I think I agree.
Yeah, it would be pretty
It would still
large.
be under 98 and competing with 98, I think.
98 was
I understand.
pretty incredible.
Let's just talk about it as it happened.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night they beat as a 24-point under.
Those other two were in Columbus. This would be
true.
home.
All right.
But yeah, you might be right. We'll have to. The other two were also like national TV moments. This is on Peacock. So
at the Horseshoe, it's over. Yeah.
And it's also during the Alabama-Georgia game. So like 7 people outside of the fan bases are going to see it.
It sucks when you you're excited about a point and then someone says something obvious and then you go, oh,
that sucks.
yeah. This is terrible.
Yeah, the Peacock
this is
thing,
obviously going to be third.
I usually stick up for Peacock, but it does suck here because Dan Wetzel made a point today. One of the things that sucks about the streaming situation is it's just hard to flip back and forth for people. And
it's impossible.
Yeah, it really makes you go with the second television thing, which I think more and more people have where they're able to watch, but not everybody
hope so.
Not everybody can have a second television. Not everybody is in a situation to have it or control it.
Let me know. We'll get a GoFundMe going. I mean, these things are like $100 and some bucks.
They're not
for a
that
second
expensive.
TV.
They're not that expensive anymore. Yeah, if you can convince your significant other to have that look around your living room or have a second area. I'm not talking
You
specifically
can be like Graham
myself.
and put it away.
I do put it away every time.
When it's your turn to watch the TV, you can bring it out.
100%. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Beppy Plum, if MSU somehow upsets Ohio State, where would it rank? Appalachian State over Michigan in 07, 34-32. James Madison over Va-Tech in 2010, 21-16. Carnegie Tech over Notre Dame in 1926, 19-0. Connor Stallions over Ohio State. And Graham and I scoring the wives we did. It's this. We did well.
Yeah, I'd like to think I was a catch back in the day. No, I'm kidding. I was not a catch. I don't know how that happened. But if MSU, where would it rank? Ohio, Appalachian State, Michigan is still one of those classics that everybody knows. Like when you say App State, to this day, people think 07 against Michigan. That is a upset of a different kind. And so I would say that still.
You could say the same about 1926.
Well, we don't
Carnegie
remember.
Tech.
Yeah, that was big. Over
Jesus.
Notre Dame, yeah. Must have been something going on in the water that day. Yeah.
No electricity.
Yeah.
Terrible. Beppe Plum, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm so mature, I bet I went through puberty and didn't know it, my 11-year-old said. So by this rationale, I've not yet hit puberty. I think he is the groovy donuts of children.
I don't really know what this means.
That he's the groovy donuts of children?
He's that good?
He brings joy to people?
Yeah, I don't know where we're going. But you present an opportunity for a live read. And we, yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, I will say that. And Groovy Donuts is joy. That's just what it is. It's pure joy. And fall donuts are here. Apple cider cake donuts, pumpkin spice cake donuts. Just incredible offerings at Groovy Donuts. And also this week, Friday through Sunday, I love this. The Maple Bacon Bar. Incredible. You can order it at groovydonuts.com. It's along with the fall. Yeah. So good. Get your orders in. If you got a tailgate, again, groovydonuts.com. If you just want them for the Lions game, if you want some Jared Goff donuts on Monday night, Groovy Donuts will do it for you. Again, groovydonuts.com. Now, they're open Thursday through Sunday, so by Monday night, they'll be a little bit old, but I'm going to tell you something they won't. They're not big fans of day-old donuts. They like to do everything fresh. They make them overnight. Day-old Groovy Donut, still better than any other donut I've had. groovydonuts.com, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., Thursday through Sunday, open on Lake Lansing Road, East Lansing, and also in Williamston. I mean, I felt all of Fred Human.
Mr. Benjen, what will happen if MSU loses its next 4 games, which would be 5 losses in a row? Well,
I mean,
some hot takes.
They'd be 3 and 5.
Yeah. Still haven't covered that over.
I think people would be feeling down about things because they've got to find a way to beat Iowa or Michigan. If they do that, people can stand 4-4. I think nobody thought they'd be in a better position than that it means they would have beaten Iowa or beaten Michigan. Either one's a win people feel okay about. Obviously, if anybody who's an MSU fan had to choose, they would choose the win over Michigan. But Iowa's at home. It's coming off a bye, and even an extra day at that because of the Friday game at Oregon. So what will happen? I don't know. The real question is, do you lose confidence? Do you keep your togetherness? Like, this is a team right now that I think likes each other, and a defense that's got a real camaraderie to it and belief to it. And if any of that gets dinged, that could matter going into November. And then you've got to find a way to win 3 games in November, which is also tricky to get to a bowl, because I think a couple of those teams especially are tough. You want to find a way to win one of these. And it's probably not going to be Ohio State, probably not going to be Oregon. So can you beat Iowa or can you beat Michigan?
Mr. Benjen, what is your worst app customer service debacle? I ordered a DoorDash gift card for someone to have dinner. The card never arrived. DoorDash refused to send a new one or refund my money. Venmo denied my dispute. Fuck DoorDash with full-size P-Trough. With a full-size P-Trough. So wait, you want to fuck DoorDash with a full-size P-Trough?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Shove it in DoorDash. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard some debacles happening with the DoorDash gift cards, but as somebody who's had some debacles with gift cards, I'm not gonna throw stones here. What is your worst customer service app debacle?
Vivid Seats. For somehow I got wrangled into that. I missed a Neil Young concert because they wouldn't let me transfer the tickets and having to stay on the phone it was just endless for like 2 hours, and then was finally getting close to the concert. So, yeah, it was complete ass. But now with the gift card, so as the DoorDash person delivering the gift card, did they take it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah? Why would Venmo deny? Venmo's saying that you're a liar.
I would say most of my worst experiences have wound up being my own fault when I realized the situation. Like, I disputed a charge at a hotel with my Chase Visa card at a Marriott.
Porn?
No, not that. I always dispute that. But and then realized later on that I actually did stay at that hotel. But I fought it for a month.
So how long do you keep going with, when you get to a certain level and you realize your stupidity, do you keep going with the fight? Or do you admit?
I admit it right away.
Okay.
You get out of it with shame and
but
as
do
much
you see a
dignity as you
scenario
have.
where you could go to a level where you're like, I think I need to just stick with this lie?
No. You never stick with a lie. Because the
murder somebody.
The truth will set you free.
If you want to get away with it, right, Graham? Professor, who is the Tigers MVP this season? Riley Green.
So let me make an argument for Tarek Skubal argument. And
Every
this
5 days.
This would be the only argument. Yes. The only argument I would have is obviously he's 15-5 or 18-5, whatever he is. He's like
unbelievable.
a million. For a long time this season, when they weren't very good, not only was he very good and sort of kept them respectable, but they seemed to show up on the days he pitched as hitters too. Like, it was the opposite of like Reese Olson early on, right? Where they never got a single run and the guy was like 2-10 or whatever. Like, it was, Skubal's pitching, we're up for this, find a way to get runs, win the game. And so there was a trickle-down effect. It felt like big event when he pitched, batters got up for it, the play all around was better. And so his wins over replacement trickles down beyond.
I appreciate your argument, but you're wrong, I think, still. I mean, Riley Green still gave you hope.
Yeah,
seeing him day in, day out, you're like, we have a future with Riley Green, too.
It's Riley Green. Yeah. I mean, there have been patches this season. Like, would you say the MVP of this run is Parker Meadows? Or who would you say? Like, the MVP of this particular stretch?
I mean, it's A.J. Hinch, first
That's
and foremost.
True. Yeah,
I mean, this
incredible.
pitching staff slapping together bullpen session. I mean,
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Max Spade. Assuming the Tigers are in the playoffs and acknowledging that everything since August has been house money. 1, what's a best-case scenario Tigers playoff run? 2, what would be a satisfying Tigers playoff run? And from Sunshine Spartan, do the Tigers win a playoff series?
All right, so best-case scenario.
Hold on.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
We should do something with pure options where if they win a playoff series, everybody just gets free weed. I'm not sure that works for them, but just like everybody, it's just like the whole state. We're all high on life, high on pure options. That may not be the best avenue, but anyway, we should suggest something like that. Either way, worth a trip to pure options before this Tigers postseason to enjoy it to the maximum level. What's a best case scenario for a Tigers playoff run? I don't look.
A World Series.
Yeah, right.
Fucking A. I don't know. I'm enjoying all of this. I'm enjoying being like relevant in September, and people are excited about the Tigers again.
I'm not going to put limits on it because they just the way they've been winning. They do have an ace, which really helps. Again, one of my complaints, and will eventually be a big complaint again, is that the regular season does not mirror the postseason, and so you don't need a ton of pitching depth. You don't need if you get in a 7-game series or if in a 5-game series. You get 2, dynamic screwball starts where he's at his absolute best. You just got to win one other game. You know what I mean? Like that's and they're playing well enough with in other situations to win too. We just saw what they did against the Orioles. We saw what they did against Kansas City. I do think going to Houston would be tough, but best case scenario is we saw an 83-win Cardinals team win a World Series against them. You just who knows what the best case scenario. What would be satisfying to you though? At this point, is it just house money, even if they lose in 2 games?
Satisfying is getting into the playoffs. Honestly, no one thought anything was going to happen with this 2024 season. It gives you hope for 25. So just getting in to make sure we get in, and because that would be the worst case scenario. Somehow we don't get into the playoffs. So
it's a playoff game at Comerica Park, which I think you get, right? Is that the way it works? If you get the first game at Comerica and then the next 2 would be somewhere else?
It depends, right? Who has? Is there a possibility that we wouldn't get a home game in the first?
Hold on. Give me some off.
Oh, Jesus.
I am the passenger.
Right up into my rectum, and it was painful. Oh. No, really yeah. Good. Not good. The 3-game series at this stage, the higher seed will host the entirety of what is a best-of-3 series. Yeah. So you might not get one at Comerica. That's okay. You know what? This weekend, this whole stretch, this week has been like one big party at Comerica, right? And then you get this weekend going into it, and
let's keep winning until we get a home game.
Yep. And if it's right, you get through the playoffs, and or you get through that first round, and I don't mind that either. Again, I want teams to be rewarded for the regular season, so I don't hate that deal. For me, you're right. It's all gravy at this point. It would all be satisfying. It would be nice if they won a postseason game, but to me, I'm already starting.
Is it possible it's a good thing for the Tigers to not have a home playoff game in the first round? Column?
Yeah. It sounds like Los on Pure Options right there. That's
no, that would be something I'd read.
Yeah.
Kurt Wisniewski, is it just a coincidence that once Baez was sent packing, the Tigers are amazing?
No.
But let's feel bad for Alavila, though, right? He's brought us some joy.
I'm not giving Baez's absence entire credit for this run, but they're a better team without him. This run does not happen with him playing every day or every other day at shortstop. There's no way.
But it does happen because he did play shortstop for such a long time. The reason why we had to go on a fucking 80-game winning streak.
There are just too many. I mean, Trey Sweeney's had too many big at bats. There have been too much good juju or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Juju. Kurt Wisniewski, will the Spartans cover this Saturday?
Don't know, wouldn't bet it, but the live line is the way to go. The live line is the way to go. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think you'll have a feel for it. And look, you can be wrong on a field. Games change or turn, and the mistake I usually make on the live line is I bet the under. I see like 2 series where I'm like, these offenses are going nowhere. I'm on the under.
So give an example. So if Ohio State comes down and scores right away, right, 50-yard bomb, touchdown, bail.
Yeah, or see what the line. The real
where
thing
would
is,
you pounce?
Here's where I would pounce. If you watch an Ohio State offensive drive, like if you're going to pounce on Ohio State, it would be this. You watch an Ohio State offensive drive, they're moving the ball, regardless of what, it looks a little too easy for them. And then you see Michigan State, and it's like, holy crap, they can't move the ball on these guys. And the line at that point that was once 24 is only like 28, and Ohio State's already up 7-0. That might be the time to get on it if it's inside.
Can these? I know it's a law, but can some of these apps, these gambling apps, like let me stay signed in for like a couple hours,
just to help?
Just a couple. I'm saying like what I know that it's a law probably or something. There's something against it where people are going to gamble too much if you leave them logged in. every time I want to make a live, you got to sit there and you have to do your face verification. It's just like,
you got to hold up the gambling app for your face verification so everybody knows you're about to place a bet. It's the worst.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
you can be a little subtle.
Yeah, I try. So,
but
but when I look down, I got like 7 chins, and it doesn't recommend. It doesn't.
But let's say during the noon to 4 o'clock, you leave me logged in, and then I'll go check in with you. And anyway,
no, but the Michigan State way would be this: if MSU's defense looks like it's like that line will still be above 21, even if MSU's offense moves the ball, even if they don't score a little bit, and MSU's defense looks like it might be able to hang in there. I think you can react and still get it above 3 touchdowns.
Couch on fire. How many quarterback draws would you run against this Ohio State defensive line tomorrow?
You're going to have to run some stuff with Childs, but you also want to keep his ass healthy. You want to be a little bit careful that he's not crunched. He's going to be under enough pressure. But yeah,
if we could let Childs loose, right, against Ohio State to maybe try to upset this
it's one of your
Buckeye
advantages.
Teams.
Yeah, you got to
maybe
use him.
Schuster can handle the next 4. Yeah,
you got to use him.
Beating,
you got to use your advantages, and he's one of them.
Couch on fire. On a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked are you by this Tigers run? And don't we all want more now? It's 50 Tony Dombrowski's. What do you mean? 1 to 10?
Beyond 10. It's beyond 10. I mean, because at this point, I'm not even mad at myself for not betting it to happen.
No,
because you couldn't see it coming. No. And I mean, if you did, more power to you, and God love you.
I want to hear it. Let's see it.
Yeah, we do want to see it.
Praise you.
Yeah, but and again, I think we're all pretty satisfied. Can you
imagine anyone saying 5 though, out of 1 out of 10? It's about a 5.
Those are the
I don't like sports.
Thomas was washed.
Yeah, terrible. Sunshine Spartan, does Aiden Childs not throw an interception?
No,
What's the odds on that?
Yeah, I would.
Plus 4 something.
If you see odds on him to at least throw 1, take it, because it's hard to imagine.
970. Sunshine Spartan, if you had a choice, go through a hurricane or snowstorm that leaves you stranded for a week. I have done both and would take a hurricane. By the way, survived Helen. Damn.
I would take a snowstorm because it's cozier and you watch Hallmark.
Well, that's what I mean.
Out.
How dare I tell someone that's went through both?
Yeah, right.
I trust you, but I would just have a question. I mean, is it like a normal, like when you're home from school and we just get to sit around? We have no power. We're out in the elements.
See, I want power.
Right. Like we lost power for 30 minutes like a month ago, and I panicked. Like
we almost didn't do a show for a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would not survive any of these. I just think more like a snowstorm is more for me. You bundle up and you.
Yeah, and the question is how in the hurricane are you? Are we talking beach house, like right on the? Are you in the storm surge? Like, could your house collapse?
I don't. Yeah, but I don't want to be anywhere near that.
I don't want rushing water. I have a huge snowblower. I mean, it's.
I think what Sunshine is saying though, if you're stranded, like you don't have a lot of your comfort.
I see. Yeah.
But I think I'd still go snowstorm.
So I was stranded in a snowstorm in D.C. Not because it was in D.C. I don't think it was there. I think it was here in Lansing, and it was. I was in College Park covering a Michigan State Maryland basketball game, and had to stay like an extra night or 2 before they could get me out on the only flight that goes to Lansing from DCA. And it was great. I mean, Elizabeth had to snowblow and shovel the walk in the driveway. And I stayed in a really nice hotel with a great bar and restaurant in an area. Now the snow was elsewhere, so it wasn't on me. But I would have been fine. I would take the snow. I don't. Give me the sales pitch for the hurricane. I don't understand how that's anywhere
I don't need
near.
The sales pitch. Like I said, I believe you. Just asking questions for the show. Ken Chu, what time will the state police start blocking the entrances to campus? MSU ticket office says there is no on-campus parking without a pre-purchased parking pass, which were only available during the season ticket sales. Hashtag MSU war on tailgating.
Yeah, this is something I'm going to look into here before the Iowa game. There's kind of a quick,
but Ken Chu out, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the bottom of is this more difficult and why it's worse, and so I'll be in contact as well with you, and just want to figure this out because this shouldn't be a hard experience. It's like downtown parking in Lansing. Like you should want people to enjoy their experience. Now you don't have unlimited spots, and you can't have people just able to walk up or drive up to the stadium and park if they don't have a pass for it. But you ought to be able to get around or at least understand where to get to. And the construction obviously is making things even more. You know me, I'm anti-construction. So
Ken Chu, did Nick Marsh get injured in practice or in the Prairie View game?
It was in the Prairie View game, from what I understand. It was late in the Prairie View game. He came back in, though. That's what made it kind of weird. But, yeah.
Skylar Verdon, why does Graham make a joke in the tweet every time he tweets the video of him and Solari doing the MSU football postgame video? It's two weird white guys staring into a camera. I mean, like, I enjoy the jokes of it. It is weird postgame. I mean, like, it's enjoyable because you get the coverage, but it's literally two white guys staring at you in a camera. So you got to make fun of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you got to make fun of yourself. I think otherwise you take yourself too seriously. Here is 7 minutes of MSU football analysis you must watch here. This is big. You know, it's just, first of all, it started with, you know, the screenshots that would organically show up were often of like Solari in some awkward pose, and I loved it. So then I started to realize that I could pick the screenshot that went out. So then now I scroll through and I find a moment that's either funny. I try not to make him always look awful. Sometimes it's me or both of us or whatever, but you can find an awkward moment, and you just have fun with it. It usually goes out, it becomes a bit, it goes out.
Because there's no B-roll video going over you guys. It's just literally you guys staring into a camera.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, yeah.
So you guys have no time to even. So, yeah. DMB, Rube, what restaurant or business would you add in Ovid? Graham, what advice would you give my 3- and 5-year-old peeing in a trough? They are intimidated by the experience.
Well, these are two separate questions. So these should have been, okay, we'll start with what restaurant or business.
3 and 5. How do they're not tall enough to get in a trough, are they?
Yeah. Here's what I would say.
Restaurant, yeah.
I would enjoy the camaraderie. You know, it's just
at 3 and 5?
Well, 3's tough. The trough is high. Even 5 is,
dude. My nephew's 5. There is no way he's going into a stall or something.
Yeah,
not sitting around a trough with a bunch of dudes at eye level.
This feels like you probably need to take your 3- and 5-year-old to a locker room where it's like communal showers, and they just get used to the people being naked.
We need to move on.
Okay. Well, let's go to the other part. What's the restaurant business?
Nothing. There's nothing because like
nothing
there's no it would be personal, like
nice
Pure Options.
Oh.
A nice restaurant. I mean, there's not through traffic through Ovid a lot, but I mean, we have an ice cream place and
Pure Options next to the ice cream place.
They would never know. That would get voted down. They would rather have a quilt store than a fucking weed place.
Maybe we could get like a Midtown Brewing Company or Groovy Donuts, like second or third location, just a small place, just a little hut combo. Midtown Brewing Company, Groovy Donuts.
We could do a live show every month there.
Yeah, it'd be
good
amazing.
idea.
By the way, if you are looking for a place for a date night or to watch the games this weekend or Sunday brunch, Midtown Brewing Company, fantastic choice. I think you know how we feel about them. Great vibes, great character to the place, unbelievable menu, great drink selection. The American Stout is one of my absolute favorite beers in the world, and your significant other will think you put some time and effort into taking them someplace if you take them to Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing.
David Jackson, I've seen plenty of hopeful internet chatter about Saturday, so I have to ask. If Aiden Childs has 0 interceptions and no blown long passes to wide open guys who would score, does MSU have a legit chance to have the game within 7 in the fourth quarter?
0 interceptions, no blown long passes to wide open guys.
That's a money line victory right there.
Game within 7 in the fourth. It depends on the defense, but you'd have a chance. So you're talking no intercept, no turn, and
then what else went wrong then?
Yeah, could be a turnover somewhere else, but that you could see a path. Yep.
David Jackson, are we satisfied that Nate Carter has no business in MSU's pass game other than in pass protection?
He certainly has not shown in games that he's an apt receiver, and that's just the evidence that exists right now.
Next one from David. Should we be grateful that MSU's game is on Peacock opposite the Alabama versus Georgia game so no one will watch it? Or should we regret that no one will see our fine performance? A lot of different ways David has to just say, is Michigan State going to win or not? I appreciate it.
But it's a good question. What would you rather have? I guess it's how it goes.
I think I would rather have it on Peacock against the Bama-Georgia game just in case it's,
Because here's the thing. If Michigan State upsets Ohio State or even plays really well.
Or if it's close to doing it, though, people will find out
enough
about it.
People will know. Right. That's the thing. And this is just going to be the way it goes. I mean, the Notre Dame game is before it on Peacock, and they're not happy about it. And so that
you know who is
Peacock.
That's fair.
Tony D.
Yeah. No, this inability to switch around is the problem with the apps. It just is, and it sucks. But
it's always been that way.
But here's the problem. They're just not even they're not even smart about it. So when I get on the treadmill and I want to watch a soccer game or whatever, or even if I want to watch Bally's, it's like, watch this, watch live. Are you sure now? Like there's like 6 different clicks. Like you're like, just when I click the thing, take me to the freaking thing.
Well, for the Major League Baseball app, it tells you if you want to like catch up, or maybe it does it with other apps too, right? And I've hit it by accident. I'm
English
like,
or Spanish,
what is this shit?
and then it's like, do you want Turkish or fuck? Just put the game on, please.
What are you watching? Scott, do the networks and schools know what the fans hate when a game is on Peacock? Seems they care less about views and more so want fans to pay to watch one game and hope they forget to cancel a subscription. Makes it really tough to watch more than one game, such as Georgia versus Bama and MSU Ohio State.
Yeah, they care about money, and that's what this is about. And it's about those streaming services, which may or may not exist. Different streaming services. Streaming is going to exist, but different streaming services and the streaming wars may or may not make it. And the one thing I'll say about like Peacock with soccer is a lot of times there are multiple games on Peacock, and you're able to just move within one streaming service. That's when it's not so bad. But yeah, we're really going to have to get to a point in life where when we watch sports, it's multi-TV setup, and it's all about money.
All right, Brendan Best next. What's one thing Coach Smith, in your opinion, has not done very well in his tenure so far at Michigan State? What's one thing Coach Smith, in your opinion, has excelled at in his tenure so far at Michigan State?
It's pretty early to say there's something he hasn't done well. I mean, early on you could say that, the penalties were something that they really struggled with for a few weeks. Now, last week that wasn't an issue, so I don't know
not
if that's
benching Childs.
Yeah. I don't know if there's something that he's not done well. I don't know if we've.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's just too early. It's early to say that, and I think he's handled a lot of things pretty well. When you say what he is excelled at, I think tone. I think his coaching hires with Joe Rossi has been really good. The team he's put together defensively, looks like enough talent and guys who have bought in and fit what they want to do, and putting together a roster that, in pretty short order, could at least be competitive. But I think tone is the big thing. Win, lose, there is a conversational. It's just not defensive. It's not rah-rah. It's just it fits where they are, and I think he's done a nice job of that.
I booed Stafford's kids next. Graham, violent crime rates are down across the country, but up in Lansing. As mayor, how would you change this? So this is a bigger issue probably than you want to spend a lot of time on this particular podcast with. However, what's the podcast you listen to listen for this stuff?
Well, no, I'll give a little something here. The big issue in Lansing is not violent crime across the board. It's violent crime among teens. It's guns with teens. So you got to figure out. We've got to get a handle on that. There's no question. And at this point, I've had some conversations with people, but I would defer to more in-depth conversations with people in that space who are mentors or who are in law enforcement and in schools and really dealing with it right now. Got to find a way. We got to be bold and willing to take some bold initiatives to try to get guns out of the community, keep them from coming in, get them off the streets. There was kids have been fighting each other forever, but it didn't used to be like this with guns, and it's a pretty recent deal. Some of it's pandemic related, some of it's pre-pandemic related. There are fewer places for teens to be, but kids now feel like they need to have a gun to counter what might be another gun, and that's a problem. The one thing that Lansing still has going for it largely is most of the incidents are targeted people. In other words, it's not happening to random. You're safe on the street. In other words, it's not, if you're not involved in the game, so to speak, or not a part of whatever's going on, you should be okay. There have been a few others that are concerning, a few of them, but yeah, it's a major issue. It's largely a teen and young person issue, and it's got to be one of the primary focuses going forward, and getting fewer guns coming in, fewer guns on the street, and however we do that, I'm open to open ideas.
I booed Stafford's kids. Can the winner of the Couch and the Rube NFL Picks contest get to choose where to spread Gam's ashes?
Graham Ellis.
How was that? Did you guys spread some ashes?
Well, no, I have them.
I know you have some, but I thought
we spread some of my dad's in Saco in the Saco Bay there when we were out on the boat, which is cool. And yeah, I've got to think of some stuff to do with with
like I still need to my mom. I still have some of her ashes, but we took some to Mexico, and like when we go golfing on our anniversaries. But like, there's still so much. Like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Well, you got to think about meaningful places or places
I know,
she'd
but
enjoy.
I mean, good God, there's a whole box of
and keep some. Well, yeah.
Well, I know, but I mean,
we'll pour out more.
You do
at
the
a time.
whole. There's a lot, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, how many times do we just do one dump of? I don't know.
Well, yeah, and there's like there are 4 or 5 places I still want to do. Still want to take my dad's ashes, and I got to think about my grandma and him together and gam up. Yeah.
Imagine living to 100, and this is the tribute you get.
But I have enough of the ashes that we could give some to the NFL picks contest.
I swear, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. That seems like a better than a
like
gift
a
card.
pendant or something they can wear. Matt C., do you think a good MSU crowd shows up Saturday, or does Ohio State? Why can't I say Ohio State? Take it over. I really wanted that 4-0 start to keep down the number of inbreds from Ohio in the stadium.
I think it will be a good MSU crowd. The tickets are not overly expensive on the secondary market, which leads me to believe there will be a lot of Ohio State people there. And this is their first road game. It's not that far. First Big Ten game. I think you're going to see a fair amount of red that's going to get in the stadium, but I don't think it'll be a bad crowd. The students will show for this one. Night game has a chance to be a good atmosphere.
Matt C., Graham, can you do some actual reporting and figure out if anyone else in the Big Ten has 10 injuries 4 games in? Prove to your listeners this happens everywhere. I know journalism has devolved into storytelling, but come on. Is that true? Journalism has just turned into storytelling?
There's my least favorite thing is when some writer, and this usually happens with The Athletic, says like, just poured 5,000 words or 3,000 words, and I put 3,000 words on this. It's like, well, you probably could have done it in 925. So maybe next time don't put 3,000 words into it. Anyway, that's almost an editor speaking. Sorry,
might as well just say their name. I mean, it seems like a lot of people tweet that.
It's not. It's a little too much. I am not going to be the one to do this. However, I would email Rainer Sabin at the Free Press. He is kind of the Big Ten reporter for them. This sounds like a good project for him. And
do you have his email?
You can find it. It's pretty available for sure. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll get into more of your groovy donut Twitter questions. Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Friday afternoon show by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, and our Friday show presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and iCasino and Sportsbook app. There goes,
oh man,
right then,
great timing.
It wasn't even the computer one still in. That was actually a cell phone charger. It's not really.
It's even more embarrassing. It's impossible.
I know. Anyway, if you're looking for the in-house sportsbook experience, Stacy's Taproom and Sportsbook, an awesome place to go down at Firekeepers on I-94 in Battle Creek. No need to go to Vegas. It's right here. And if you're prepping for a big weekend of watching football and soccer and, of course, the Detroit Tigers, swing by Groovy Donuts and Pure Options. Make that the double. I'm telling you, Groovy Donuts are great on their own, but Groovy Donuts after Pure Options, even better. So make that the double. Go to pureoptions.com for location information nearest you. And Groovy Donuts, 2 locations, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, and also in Williamson, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. If you go to groovydonuts.com, you can your tailgate needs. If you want to buy like 8 and bring 6 home to the significant other, they'll think you brought home a 6 for them, and they won't be any wiser. I really screwed that up. I thought I was going to do better on that read.
I think we understand it.
Okay, anyway. All right, back to these Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
All right, Rich Kane, am I the only one getting a strong 2007 Rockies vibe from the Tigers?
I don't even remember the 2007 Rockies. It was like 17 years ago. What happened to the 2007?
I just had to look up 2000. Yeah, Rockies. They were 90 and 73 in the NL West. They tied the Diamondbacks there. I don't know, but they as far as
they had a winning streak. Okay, over the course of 29 games in September through the middle of October, the Rockies won 21 games and lost just once. Oh, that would be nice.
Helton on that team.
That would be nice. That would, yeah. Yeah, no, this has been an incredible run. There's no doubt about it. I'm trying to think of things that compare to it that I've been around. I wasn't around for that 30. Oh, I was around, but don't remember the 35-4 start in the 84 Tigers or anything like that. Like
I've asked some old timer Tiger guys, and they've said they've never seen anything.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Rich Kane, did anybody ask K'Ron Lynch Adams why he wasn't wearing gloves?
I didn't think of it. No. Does he usually wear gloves? That's a good question. And he did take a hit, right on the ball. And the other thing is there shouldn't be an unblocked player there. Now, you're not supposed to fumble, but bringing the ball out wasn't the mistake. The mistake was not finding a way to hang on to it.
Rich Kane, why aren't there trophy games in basketball?
We may be headed there. You're getting a midseason tournament already in the NBA. But you're right. Like Can
you start that now, though?
College basketball, you get the land-grant trophy. You get all this. Yeah,
it would just be weird starting something like that now.
Yeah. It's got to be old at this point. Yeah.
Mojo Jojo, what's your favorite part of internet culture? Mine is the Reddit page for college football. Incredible comedy and camaraderie amongst college football fans. Highly recommended checking it out.
I will check it out.
I love Reddit. It's one of my favorite apps.
It's where I'm moving to more regularly than Twitter, because Twitter has become toxic.
Well, yeah. But that's why you just look at stuff that you enjoy.
Yeah, I'm much more on the people I follow. Because, here's the thing. I've realized that most of the people I follow, including a lot of our listeners, are even people that I don't agree with politically or whatever, are just reasonable folks that I like engaging with. And that's what I wish Twitter would somehow get back to.
As long as you're funny, pretty much. I just, it's not like a certain thing or topic is all that you're about.
I have blocked the word, muted the word washed. So if anybody's washed, I don't know it. Yeah.
Mojo Jojo. Are big-time donors satisfied with this level of play? Not terribly impressive across the board, even in the SEC. Yeah, but are you winning? Are you undefeated?
So are we talking about just in college football overall? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think people care. They care about their team, and it's one of the things national writers really struggle with. And I've talked about this before. In basketball and football, they're like, the level of play, it's not that good. Oh, the hand checks. You got more freedom of movement in basketball. In football, you need to. People want to win. National writers are largely irrelevant, and they're fighting for moments of relevancy, and they spend gobs of money traveling all over the place to write irrelevant shit. And no offense. And but most fan bases, like no Michigan State fan base has ever looked at their 2000 national championship in basketball and said, that was great, but the hand checking, it's a little physical. It wasn't fun. Just that's not the brand for me. I would rather have my team be in the NIT, but play a beautiful style. And if that's possible, people just don't give a shit. They want to win, and donors want to win individually. That's what it's about.
Mojo, Jojo, Jason, can Jordan explain how Michigan was 69-24 under Harbaugh before he hired Connor Stallions and 21-1 after? Any thoughts? I will have to pass that along to him. It's an answer I don't really care or whatever he has to say, I guess. But, I'll ask him, I guess.
I mean, what's interesting is...
I just don't think he cares anymore after they won a natty, pretty much.
Right. The level of correlation we don't know. And the problem is when you have a situation like Connor Stallions and you have this sort of data, the record, right? And there was more data that Mojo Jojo pointed out. It lends itself to this question and will always lend itself to that question.
Original Dark Mantonio, Graham, did you listen to gangster rap, grunge, and alternative rock in the early, late 90s? Or was it all Celine, Boyz II Men, and Bryan Adams for you? All fine, by the way.
I was a little... Most of what I was more Boyz II Men, Celine, and not so much Bryan Adams. A little Brian McKnight, maybe.
You listen to Bryan Adams, dude.
I was not a Brian. I was
But it was on the radio every other song, though.
Tevin Campbell, maybe a little bit. I'm ready to love you. Yeah, there. I was good. I was because I had to deal with BMG and Columbia House, where you paid like 1 cent for 6 CDs, and then you fled the country and you never paid for the other 3. And you got all the free CDs when you were a teen. Yeah, I mean that's. Did you not do that? Did you pay your actual?
What? You don't think I did the penny thing?
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
Amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, and the best thing is before 9/11.
But I listened to Bryan Adams too. I'll admit it.
You were a Bryan Adams guy?
It was on all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Summer of '69.
Yeah,
I thought it meant something else.
I listened to a little bit of rap, but not later on. I got more into Tupac and things like that. But before 9/11, when you could you could do things at the post office with a PO box. You needed no ID for anything, really. It was just like, it was anything goes.
Now the terrorists win.
And yeah, so I had like multiple names on a P.O. box, and I would have CDs shipped to me, and then I would just disappear from the earth with that name.
I think it would be cooler, though, if you got more porn. Like the CD thing, I was never embarrassed by. Like if you were like,
I did have a
P.O. box and some porn. Then
I did have some. I did have
a
Playboy subscription that used to come to the
but that's
downtown.
too tame. I mean, Playboy. I get that in my uncle's bathroom there.
That is a story worth telling, or almost worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company. An awesome place for brunch or lunch or a date night this weekend, or to catch a game and just post up at the bar and have a American stout.
Original Dark Mantonio. Graham, you said Michigan would struggle to get to 6-6, and I assume USC was a loss you had for them. So predict their game-by-game wins and losses for the rest of the season.
You're right that I did think that they were going to lose to USC. Like, that was an impressive win, because I thought, and
is it impressive or like USC's ass?
There's a little that.
It
was
like
at home.
4 yards passing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you know.
It didn't make me. It made me think that Michigan has a little more something to. Like, I thought maybe the wheels could come off a little bit. It's going to get really, like, I don't think Minnesota's very good. They ought to win this weekend. I don't think they should be 12th, but they should win this weekend. But it gets very interesting after that, because then they're at Washington, and Washington's not that good, but it's in Seattle. It's all the way across the country this year. Then you're at Illinois, who was probably, is overachieved at this point, but is a team that's, especially at home, is going to put up a decent fight. Then you get a rivalry game against MSU. Then Oregon visits. Then you're at Indiana, who's putting up a lot of points. Like, there's a stretch, and then there's one game, Northwestern, they'll take care of business at home, and then you're at Ohio State. So you can see how they would still, like, they'll win this week. So at this point, what are they? 1, 2, they're what? 3-1, right? Yeah, 3-1. And so if they're going to win this week and get to 4-1, and so getting a 6 is probably going to happen. But you can, they'll beat Northwestern, but every other game they play has some level of doubt after that, based on what we've seen thus far.
Original Dark Mantonio, why does it seem MSU talkers, fans, etc. capitulate to Ohio State football and act like a subordinate falling in line? I know they both share a deep hatred for Michigan, but MSU should hate Ohio State almost as much as they hate Michigan, seeing the way the Buckeyes demolish them every year.
Well, because the Michigan thing is more in the fabric of, their beginnings in the Big Ten of the rivalries in terms of their people in their own city and household and workplace, and it's just much more ingrained in. It's just a deeper rivalry. There's a deeper hatred, and it doesn't matter who's beating you up. There are lots of great teams. Nebraska was kicking the shit out of Michigan State in the 90s. Didn't make Nebraska a rival. Ohio State has beaten them lately pretty badly, but over time, Michigan State's had some huge wins against Ohio State. And it is probably their secondary rival from MSU's standpoint. But over Penn State, which they've tried to do with the land-grant trophy and all that stuff. But Michigan is the protected rival. It's the game they're going to play every week. It's the game that stirs the soul of Michigan State fans. It just is. You can't help what you care about, and that's what MSU fans will care about most.
Graham Manito Couch, if you weren't a surefire NFL prospect, what university would you attend? I totally get Cedric Irvin Jr. going to Stanford, not quite his dad, and an incredible school for job prospects aside from football.
So, I don't know. Like, where would you want to go if you're thinking college might be it for me, but I'm a Division I prospect? Yeah. The thing is, most of these guys think they're going to go pro.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had a head on your shoulders and you were self-aware, I mean, like, why wouldn't a school in Michigan would definitely be one of my first, like a Michigan State if they offered me for sure.
Yeah,
the weather's great, right? The winters aren't as bad anymore. Weed's legal.
There are lots of things to consider. You want to go where, I mean,
you go to FAU, but it's just a bunch of old white people. I mean, it's kind of boring, but.
Yeah, you want to go. I mean, I can imagine you want to go somewhere where the opposite sex likes you and is around.
I didn't want to go there. You said it.
You don't want to go too south too, because again, back sweat and BO. You don't want that either. Especially if you're an offensive lineman, you don't want to like I don't get offensive linemen going to
hurricanes,
Florida or Texas, because you may be in a football, but you're just going to sweat and it's going to suck. Your life's going to suck.
Fall is nice here.
The Midwest would probably be. Most of these schools are really good schools, and you can get anywhere from anywhere. So it would be about the place that felt most like.
But if you're smart enough to go to Stanford, though, yeah. I mean, how could you turn down an education?
It's not a bad deal. Yeah.
Guys are still taking classes, right? Graham Manito Couch, will talent fees on tickets as schools try to find ways to fund football and athletic departments further turn off fans from attending games in person? Tennessee is the first to implement it.
Yeah, so if Michigan State charges more to fans and that fee is going to fund the team in front of you,
you got to be careful, man.
You do have to be careful.
The seat licensing and all this other nickel and dime shit, man. You keep adding stuff. I mean, it's fun to watch them at home.
And here's the danger with college kids, and we all get that. Like, part of when you pay the Detroit Lions, you pay your ticket to the Detroit Lions, it's going partly to their salary, right? It's going partly to the Lions. But is you try not to look at these guys completely as pros. If you as a fan feel like you are paying the players on the field, your expectations for that player on the field change. You feel like you have a piece of how they perform, and they owe you something. And that's the one thing I just would get a little bit careful on.
Are these the same people that would go to Dan Campbell's house to fuck around after a loss? I mean, like, we can't sit there and make all these different things for these mentally insane people.
No, I'm not talking about people.
Not everybody's fucking crazy, man.
You don't have to be crazy to do this. If you feel like
you do. You do. You have to be crazy if you're going out. You think you own a player because you're gambling.
Own them. I'm not saying you own them.
Did you say own, or maybe I misheard you?
I didn't mean it that way. To that degree.
I mean, I can understand what you're saying though. If you gamble on the player and they let you down, you're doing a individual player prop.
Right, but I'm talking about tickets. If you're paying more for a ticket, and so you feel like that player then owes you, is what I said. Yeah. It's a good question. I don't know how to change how people think. I think all of it together is, a little bit precarious for football going forward, but we're not going to see it for a while. And they need to be careful that they don't turn people off entirely.
Gramanito Couch, should I be surprised if Brad Holmes turns a 4th, 5th rounder into Bryce Young and Dan Campbell works his magic to turn him around? They're going to try to get more than, like, Carolina's going to hold on to him for more than that, right? Like, they're going to try to work him back in.
Right now, they would not get more than a 4th or 5th round.
No. That's why they're sitting there trying to lie to people and say, well, no, he's still around. We're going to try to work him back in. But
if you were the Lions and they said, would you give us a 4th rounder for Bryce Young, would you do it?
But, I mean, where's Hendon Hooker at? I mean, we always need quarterbacks. I mean,
so that to me
I could definitely do a 5th rounder for a flyer on Bryce Young if Brad Holmes thinks that bringing him in would make sense. I just think that the dude's too small. And by the way, Carolina mortgaged the future for Bryce Young, and you're just going to all of a sudden turn him for a 5th rounder. I think you have to try to get him back into the mix. And
here's the thing that would. Yeah,
I just would rather have Hendon Hooker right now.
Yeah,
right.
The 4-year deal, right? You get it's a 5-year deal if you have control over them for 5 years if it's a rookie deal, right? So,
and remember why they drafted him, because he was a brain, like he could remember all this stuff. But the thing is, when you're that small, like a lot of he's compared to the other quarterbacks that are under 6 foot, but those guys had physical bodies with them too. It's like
if at some point you feel like Hendon Hooker is not a capable backup. And they've got to make that. I don't know where they are in their evaluation of him, but if they don't,
I just don't think a 4th, 5th rounder. I think Carolina would rather just eat the.
Correct. I'm just saying from the Lions' perspective, would you do it? I think I would. I think I would want to.
But with the way Holmes hits on those 5th rounders,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's true. You don't want to give up too many of them. Bryce Young would be interesting to me, and you're right. I don't think he'll ever be great. But you're looking at a number of quarterbacks now who are pretty productive as they go into they were giving up on early, all the way, from Geno Smith to what's his nuts in Minnesota. I mean, there are a bunch of guys who are, I would be curious about it.
Pat Caverly, Graham, if you ever had a son, would you consider naming him Solari Couch? Has a nice ring to it, eh?
Hell no. I mean, because first of all, Elizabeth wasn't going for it, and then I would have I would constantly be yelling Solari. Like I don't want that to be my day. No,
where were we? Joe Naughty, Graham, and the Rube. What's the best '80s cereal and Saturday morning cartoon combo? I'm going with Mr. T's cereal and Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling.
Did you have one?
As far as cartoon, I just remember watching The Fall Guy a lot. I love The Fall Guy. Count Chocula was my cereal, though. I do remember that.
We were not a big. I was not allowed to watch Saturday morning cartoons, and we weren't big into it. And
that's why you watch all that boring shit now.
Yeah, so a lot of English TV at night, a Masterpiece Theater type stuff. Keeping up appearances, all that good jazz. But I would say I remember as a kid though, you'd be at a cousin's house or somebody, and we'd get to watch cartoons. It really didn't matter what it was. Just the idea of watching Saturday morning cartoons was really cool. And some sort of I think the cereal that I liked that we rarely had that I liked other people had, and we did that was Pops. You remember Pops?
Yeah,
Gotta have
that was
my
my
Pops.
least favorite.
It was good.
That was always left. If you get those little boxes,
with the
5, always the
multi-pack.
Pops would be the last. So when you went over to a friend's house, did you just super indulge? And
you
were super Tony Dombrowski level excited.
There are lots of things my parents did well, and there's some things they didn't do as well that you sort of learn. And one of the things I learned is if you keep certain things from kids, it just makes them want it more. And so you have to. There's certain things I would not have.
So you're jonesing for cartoons.
Yeah, it's like heroin. Yeah.
Stephen Whitco.
Or not heroin, but or morning TV, like the things other kids might have had. That's what I want.
I thought a heroin was a good comparison. Stephen Whitco, I saw a picture of a student with both arms and a face inside a trough in the men's room at Spartan Stadium. What? Is there a worse place on campus to get sick, or does the community urinal take the cake?
It's up there because that's the one downside of troughs is you're.
Where's this picture?
But you also don't want to do it in a regular urinal. Oh, geez, there goes the other.
Jesus.
Yeah. There are worse places. Throwing up, I would rather throw up in a trough than throw up on the bleachers next to people.
All right.
Right? I've had that happen to me. That sucks because not me throwing up. I've had other people throw up near me. They're trying to put sand on it to make the smell not so bad. It's awful.
They threw up on you, though?
Well,
what do you do as someone? Let's say you're just minding your own business and someone...
It hit the guy who was sitting next to us. This was in 1999 at the Penn State-Michigan State game.
Before 9/11.
Before 9/11.
Yeah.
Back when you could have P.O. boxes with assumed names. And Yeah, it was like a group of grad students that didn't know how to hold their liquor. And the worst part is I had won some tickets that we'd given to a friend in another area of the stadium. We could have just had those. But yeah, it was. The guy next to us was pretty pissed off, and we just dealt with this. It was not great. They tried to put stuff. It's not great. And then the worst part is those were season ticket holders. I think it was the end of the year, but if that sort of, and I was back from school for the game, so I wasn't around as much, so I didn't get to have to see them all the time. But I do think that, like, if you're a season ticket holder, you got to see the same people week after week. That would be much worse.
Next one from Steven. Peacock, necessary evil to guide folks to the truth. That is the Premier League.
Peacock?
I mean, I love Peacock. I don't love the way streaming services work in terms of flipping back and forth, but Peacock is my favorite streaming service. Peacock and then Netflix. So, yeah.
Alan Perlstein, do you have a favorite English soccer chant? I've always been fond of the endearing "Your mum is your dad's sister" chant by Birmingham fans.
It's a good chant, especially in a British accent, I wish we did more of this stuff in America. There are a few things they do really well overseas, and some soccer areas are nuts, and it's just like, Jesus, you're likely to get killed at a game. But some of the chants are really clever and funny, and the way they go at each other and sort of back and forth. And the thing is, you have visiting cheering sections, so it's not like here, a lot of times there aren't that many visiting fans at a game, so you're basically just chanting to the ether. Well, British soccer fans travel, so you always have a visiting section. There's always, that's larger than they usually are here for American sports, and that creates that sort of ability to chant at each other, and it's kind of fun. I don't have a favorite chant, but that's a good one.
Cracker Sofa. Week 1, Rams play the Lions close and get smoked by Arizona the following week. Tampa does the same, then gets smoked by the Broncos. Commanders go to Arizona this week. Easy money?
Nothing's easy money in the NFL.
If you're betting that way, I mean, yeah, why not? Sprinkle on it.
The
NFL is that way.
Yeah.
Just bet trends.
Yeah. Like, I have a bad feeling about the Lions Seahawks this Monday night. I don't.
Watch your mouth. Yeah, because no Ragnow.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that sucks.
And Seattle's missing a couple offensive linemen too, but
not Ragnow.
Not Ragnow. No, but
that's your center, man. I mean,
but they have, like, apparently I was listening to another podcast where they said that the PFF grade for the guy who filled in was 0 or something like that. It was like the worst possible grade last week, and I don't know. They're
Has
in a
the
bad
line
slate.
moved at all?
It's still 3.5, I think.
Does not losing your center
It
matter
barely
at all
moves,
to
yeah.
Vegas? I
Well,
mean,
this
it's
is
so weird.
This is where you can beat Vegas. And I've said, this is where Vegas doesn't know, I'd like to say. Sometimes lines should move and they don't. Sometimes players, especially in basketball, but there are matchups where the line should move more than it does, and Vegas doesn't want to move it. They're very stuck up about this stuff, and you can beat them.
Graham
that way.
Couch, a man of many voices today. Pablo Ciccone, I'm high on this MSU team and Pure Options. I think we can play anyone tough. What would a turnover-less game for our offense look like versus Ohio State? Assuming our defense plays how they have been, we win the game. Fuck the Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, no turnovers. Are you moving the ball though? And are you That's really the question. I'm curious to see what it looks like up front, and I find it hard to believe it won't be a turnover, a no turnover game. But if they're able to have no turnovers and the defense hangs in there, you probably have a low scoring game that Michigan State is in to some degree. I'm really struggling to picture Michigan State's offensive line against Ohio State's defensive line going anything but poorly.
Pablo, Jay Stevens sounds like a smug, punchable face kind of guy. I don't like him.
Jay Stevens, who are we talking about?
Jay Riemenschneider?
No. We didn't do it.
Is that who you had on?
The comedian, Jay Stevens?
Who was on? Who was the Ohio State guest?
That's not Jay Stevens.
Oh, all right. I wasn't here, so I mean,
Yeah. What do you mean? No,
I wasn't
Joey Kaufman.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I need to know what this is.
You write these out though.
That's fair.
Like,
I copy and paste them and I edit them. That's all.
Pablo Ciccone, thought of this medium cold take, but can't wait till whatever day I'm supposed to save it for. Mel Tucker was the first MSU coach to go 2-0 versus Michigan. Jonathan Smith goes 3-0 versus Michigan.
That's a good way to get people who want to build a statue for you if you can stay off the phone later on. Who knows? But what'll be interesting and I don't think Jonathan Smith has a sense of this yet, is how you handle that rivalry, not just winning and losing, but how you speak to it, as D'Antonio did so well early on, matters. And it'll be interesting to see how he handles it.
Jay Riemenschneider, more improbable run. Lions second half of 2022 with no playoffs, or Tigers second half of this year?
Oh, it's Tigers. Yeah, this is just incredible. And baseball's a sport where, even the best teams lose a third of their games and the worst teams win, win a third. So, like, the fact that they're just they've just chopped off that third and just keep winning right now is
And the Lions, incredible. It was like more of a relief when we did come back and kind of almost backdoor into the playoffs of, okay, good, it's not off the rails.
Yeah, no, this Tigers thing is unlike anything I've seen.
All right, Jay, why are police not honored and celebrated as much as military? They put their lives on the line daily, especially in some of the crime-ridden bigger cities.
Well, I think there are a couple things. One, military are viewed as somebody who's protecting us all, and if you're a police officer in Lansing, the people in Detroit don't think of you as part of them, right? If you're a soldier in the Marines or the Army or Navy or whatever, I
consider them all the same because I don't want to do it.
Well, no,
I appreciate going into the line of fire for that shit.
I appreciate good cops the same way I appreciate military. I also think we ought to honor teachers and other people, nurses, people who do jobs that are really, really important to society.
They get honored, though.
They do. Teachers don't. Teachers get shit on.
They do?
Good.
All of teachers get
a lot of teachers get shit on. All right. And the teachers are really important. You're serving if you are a teacher. A good teacher is incredibly important. We ought to want more good people to go into that profession.
Sure. Yeah. But I thought they get their due, but maybe not. Corey Ostrom, why don't you and Solari do more Spartan speak? That latest episode was so good. It made me think you two could do this as a nationally syndicated show. Solari just attacking Graham. Every opinion was priceless. Wow.
It was. I thought it was an okay show.
Graham.
I will. Things
nationally, huh?
Yeah. Was that good, huh? Anyway, I'd like, we do
Michigan State show nationally.
Some of it is, we used to do a couple a week, or we do a second one a week. We don't have Phil Friend anymore, so it's up to us to produce it. And
the band broke up, man.
Yeah, it's tricky, and Phil still does some work on it here and there, but like it's a technical thing and a time thing. And I also don't think it would be as good. One of the problems me and Solari have, even with that show, is he and I are around each other all the time. So we know each other's opinion. Like, one of the things I like about this show is Jason and I, we talk to each other 2 hours, 3 times a week, but we don't talk a whole lot else. So it makes it more organic. I don't know that the show would be very good if we did more. Maybe we could do one more a week, but yeah.
Let's not. Corey Ostrom, why? Why am I not worried about Aiden Childs? Because he is in a developmental stage, but more so because this is who he is. He's a gunslinger, a la Brett Favre. Thoughts?
Yeah, I do think he's got a little of that I can make any play a big play thing, and he's going to have to,
that's okay.
Yes.
But you have to throw in a let's live to see another play
100%.
thing too.
He's got to grow into that. Yep. No, I think you'd rather have that than the Andrew Maxwell check down syndrome, right?
Meet Aiden Childs all day.
Right.
All day. Hans Jurgen, I was disgusted by Valenti's recent criticism of Childs. I think he should turn in his Spartan fan card. There's always growing pains with young quarterbacks. I remember Jaden Daniels playing against MSU as a freshman at ASU, and he was afraid to throw it more than 10 yards. Daniels went on to win the Heisman and is now breaking NFL rookie records. Childs is our most dynamic player since Kenneth Walker. Childs critics should just shut the fuck up. Let's see him play a complete season. I'm triggered.
Hans. It's a lot from Hans.
I was about to say, he must be triggered if he's going on and on.
I saw something about Valenti going off on Childs a little bit. I don't know to what extent or what exactly he said. But, I mean.
On 97.1?
Yeah, he's entitled to his opinion. And,
to get the callers going?
I don't get it.
Don't be stealing Pat Caputo's moves, man.
I disagree if it's over the top on Childs. I certainly disagree because I think he's the right guy for them right now for this team, and I wrote that column this week. So, and I do think that more people than less realize that Childs is a pretty good situation. They've had a lot of quarterbacks who couldn't create like him, and again, a year from now, if some of these issues are the same, different story. But right now we're talking 4 starts in. And, again, I would say it's a hard position. look at Jared Goff, who's like, saw something today at one of the, I should have written this metric down, but he's like the 29th ranked quarterback in the NFL and a really key stat right now. 29th, and
don't fact check that.
Nobody fact check it.
Just take it.
Take it. Yeah.
Hans Jurgen, shouldn't we be happy if MSU's beat the spread against Ohio State? Usually when we play them, we get blown.
Blown out.
Blown out. It says blown.
It does say blown. Yeah.
All right. Beat the spread, man. I want to get blown.
What you want, I mean, if you have money on the game, you want them to beat the spread. But what you want them to look like they belong on the field. You want that level again. That like this is a competitive. This is not a team that is so far above what your team is that you don't even look like you belong on the same field.
Hans, isn't using teasers a sign that you've lost confidence and you really should stop gambling?
Teasers can be effective. You can overdo them. A good teaser.
The fact that you started out with, that's you should stop gambling. That's right. Jake Hawkins, how far in the playoffs do you think the Tigers will go? Be honest, he says.
I can't even believe what they're doing right now, so I'm not going to put anything on it. Like, the idea of them winning 2 out of 3 in Baltimore or 2 out of 3 in Houston seems like a lot. So I don't think they get out of the first round. But I don't
like you being honest.
Yeah, sorry.
It wasn't fun. I thought it would be. Jake Hawkins, how should Jonathan Smith and offensive coordinator, quarterback coach Brian Lindgren show Aiden Childs accountability for turnovers made in games?
Well, you just got to reinforce him with conversation, and he knows it.
Play that Valenti soundbite.
Yeah. If you do this again, you're out.
You got to hear this.
No, just that this stuff kills you. It's more important sometimes to not even try to make the big play. If you can avoid the turnover, that didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Like the big play, is awesome, but the turnover, not making turnovers, is sometimes better, especially if you have enough playmaker and big play in you naturally. There are quarterbacks where that's not the case. Where quarterbacks who are too safe, and you just don't go anywhere. And but that's never going to be Child's issue. So being safe more often than not, and living to fight another play, throwing the ball away. And just getting your feet set and getting your heart slowed down in big moments. Just keep working on it. Keep working on it. I don't think berating him or threatening to bench him or anything is you just want to make sure he understands this is where it needs to get to. And the reality is he's going to be the quarterback. The salary says as much through NIL. That's what he was brought to do. The other guy was a good starter at an FBS program. This is a step up for him. I think he's a capable backup, but Childs is the guy.
Next one from Jake. Do you think that Mark D'Antonio will give a motivational speech or pep talk to MSU leading up to Saturday night's game?
So he's going in MSU's Ring of Honor. It's a cool week for him to do that. I don't think so. He didn't talk to him last year before this game. Maybe, who knows? I don't know if Jonathan Smith would bring him in, but my guess is D'Antonio would not do that.
Next one from the Hawk. Some Ohio State fans are doubtful or skeptical about Will Howard, including my ophthalmologist, who's an OSU grad. Why do you think that is?
Because Will Howard's never been a great passer, and I think that's the concern. And that to me is I'm a skeptic too. So maybe he'll have enough weapons and it'll prove me wrong, but I am a little bit skeptical for sure.
And last one from Hawk. Can you believe that MSU is leading the Big Ten in sacks?
It's been one of the surprise. I know they haven't played everybody yet, and they played Prairie View A&M, and they had a lot of sacks in the opener, but it has been that defensive line and that defensive front through the linebackers has been a pleasant surprise for Michigan State. There's no question about it. And the approach in which they take the constant pressure, no question.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy, would it be weird to have antidephobia? Antidephobia.
I got to look this up.
Day in there.
Don't be porn.
How would that be porn?
An irrational fear of being watched by a duck or goose. Yeah, I mean, that would,
Like, how closely is this duck watching, though?
Yeah.
If you look over out of nowhere and you see a duck staring you down.
I will say this, enough pure options, and you're sitting there. So you could be on a park bench, you got your groovy donuts, several MGs of pure options in you, and all of a sudden a duck's just staring at you. Like, that could freak you out.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's pretty reasonable.
Or it'll make you know what to do in that situation. Pure options helps me out that way. Jerk Guy, will you be betting on the Tigers to make it out of the wild card round?
No, I want to enjoy this. I don't want to. I
might sprinkle.
I don't want to be angry at. Well, it depends what the odds are.
Angry, just sprinkle.
Yeah. The odds are. Yeah.
Jerk Guy, which of the next 4 games is MSU most likely to win?
I think it's Iowa at home, followed closely by Michigan on the road.
And lastly, from the Jerk Guy, what has been the most embarrassing thing you've ever worn
What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever worn?
I had when I worked for ABC 53, I was the floor director, which means you were on the floor. You were telling the anchors which cameras to go to. We had a third camera that would go and give a wide view. I had this John Starks jersey. Now, when I worked there, I was like 260 pounds, right? I had.
So fat John Starks.
Yes. There was but it was from like 1994. So like I had gained weight. And I wanted to wear it because I think the Knicks were in the playoffs at the time or something. So I wanted to wear it. Well, it was completely too tight. And the anchor of the show told the producer to get the camera, and he called me out on air. And they had a shot of, like, all of a sudden I look over to my right, and there's the camera and the red light on. And there's just me, fat as shit, just like, and here's our floor director, Jason, with his John Starks jersey. And then they went into another story. So.
It's just that moment. Did anybody see it and talk about it with you?
Well, it was on ABC 53. And, there's probably 100 people watching.
Yeah, no, I had a situation in middle school. My grandparents, the Gam Gam, the one whose ashes
rest in peace,
go to the winner of the.
Here's a good memory. This is going to be nice.
Yeah, well, they bought me jeans. They were horrible. They bought my dad when he was a teenager. They bought him red jeans. He just wanted a pair of blue jeans.
Okay.
And then they bought me these like MC Hammer pant jeans that like had Velcros and elastics at the bottom. It was weird. They weren't even like real jeans. Like, and I was like, I don't want to wear these to Otto Middle School in Lansing. It's not going to go well for me. But they were visiting, and I felt they asked me about them, and so I had to wear them to Otto. And it just, if you knew Otto Middle School in the early '90s, man, you didn't want to be in like some fake MC Hammer jean pants. Is a little 103-pound Graham couch. Yeah. Was not.
I really thought that was going to be sweet at the end.
No, not sweet. Not sweet. Anyway, I mean, I love my grandma. Love my grandfather, like granddad, but that was anyway. We appreciate all of you producing our show, as always. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. Go to groovydonuts.com. They're open 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. Great place to get donuts for a tailgate, to watch the games by yourself. Just get 6 for yourself. It's the best way to spend a day. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Great place for a date night this weekend, brunch on Sunday, or a beer. And, of course, we appreciate Pure Options, precision-crafted cannabis. Go to pureoptions.com. Join their Pure Perks loyalty program. Download the app. We'll be back Monday with your hot takes.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.